Hello spooklets, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is the first time you're seeing my face. If you love anything to do with the paranormal, this is the channel for you. Go hit that subscribe button, I'd love to have you. So in today's video guys, I'm going to tell you some stories that I found on the internet from people that didn't believe in the paranormal, and these stories made them believe. I think for us people that do believe in the paranormal, hearing these kind of stories interest us the most because we, for instance, I have a lot going on in my life to do with the paranormal, which I do still need to tell you stories on this channel, which will come up soon. And we want to prove to the world that the paranormal does exist. So when you hear these stories from people that didn't believe at all, and now they do because this certain thing happened to them, it kind of makes us smile inside a bit, you have to admit. So grab yourself a drink, go get your best blanket fort and listen to these spooky tales that made people believe. So this person was at their friend's apartment building and they were stood looking down the end of a hallway, and at the end of the hallway in a mirror saw a really creepy reflection of themselves, which really creeped them out, as it would all of us. Later that evening, obviously it had been playing on their mind for a while, they decided to bring up the creepy reflection from the mirror to their friend. So they reeled off the story that at the end of the hallway, in the mirror at the end of the hallway, they saw a creepy reflection of themselves. Their friend replied that there are no mirrors in the hallways in their place. So that if there was no mirror at the end of this hallway, then that wasn't a reflection of themselves. Something or somebody was stood at the end of that hallway and obviously looked quite creepy. As he explained, he or she thought it was themselves, but a creepy version of themselves. So when I read that, it gave me goosebumps. As I can imagine, it gave this person goosebumps. And I don't blame them for then thinking that they do believe. This next one I'm going to tell you did really creep me out. So this person lost their father. So they went to go stay with their mother for a while because obviously their mum had just lost their husband and obviously they just lost their dad. Obviously family time is needed at this point. Well, whilst there, their mum went shopping with their sister, leaving this person home alone. This person, having in mind, was home alone, heard what they thought was their dad get up out of his office chair upstairs, walk across the room, open the door. Then they heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and their dad stopped on the bottom step for a few seconds before turning round, going back up the stairs, going back into his office, shutting the door, walking across the bedroom floor or office floor, and sitting back in that desk chair. This person was literally about 5 feet away, stood in the living room, watching this happen at the bottom of the stairs. Now, as much as obviously it's lovely that their dad had visited, I know, if one of my loved ones passed and I saw or heard them, I'm not quite sure if they saw them at the bottom of the stairs coming down the stairs or if it was just that they heard, but from what I can gather, this person saw their dad. Now, if, like I said, it was one of my loved ones that passed and I saw this and heard this, as much as as much as it would be nice, I think it would also be very creepy because that they've passed. It's not something that you should see, but this is what I love about the paranormal. Sometimes our loved ones come back to let them, just let them know that they're still there. And I do believe this is what her dad or his dad was doing. He came back to say, I'm still here. Okay, the next one. This couple stayed in the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, the hotel that inspired Stephen King's The Shining. Around 1 a.m., the couple heard what sounded like in the hallway some children running up and down, giggling and having some fun. But when they went out to the hallway, nobody was there. They thought they must have, kids are fast. They run away quite fast. So they went back to bed, but the next morning they took a tour of the hotel with a tour guide. As the tour was going on, the tour guide stopped basically in front of where the couple were staying, the room they were staying in, and began to tell them a story of young girls whose ghosts are said to run around that hallway, and you can hear them laughing. Now, I don't know if this couple told the tour guide what they heard, but I can imagine them being quite creeped out, and it's probably enough for anybody to start believing after that. I mean, it could have genuinely been a coincidence and children are running around the corridor, but at the same time, it was 1 a.m. when they heard it, so I highly doubt children are going to be running around the hallway at 1 a.m. I know for sure that, I mean, my kids would be fast asleep anyway, but if they did happen to be awake at 1 a.m., the last thing I would let them do is run around in hallways of a hotel disturbing other guests. So overall, I do find that a very creepy experience that they had, and I don't think there's an explanation behind it. What do you think? Okay, so there's this school that these staff members worked in, and they all got pretty freaked out. Now, in this school, they work in the gymnasium, and the gymnasium gets hired out for parties, etc. One day, one of the staff members arrived at work, and a girl that worked with this staff member looked really, really freaked out. So the staff member asked the girl, "What's wrong?" She went on to say that during her time in the gymnasium teaching gymnastics that day, one of the children was staring up at the ceiling. They were staring for quite a while, so she approached the child and said, like, "What are you looking at?" And the child pointed up to the ceiling and said, "There's a boy up there." Later that day, two more staff members came out of the gymnasium visibly shaken. A pair of 5-year-old twins went down the slide in the gymnasium, and as they got to the bottom of the slide, they started staring up at that same spot at the ceiling. And obviously, these staff members had heard this story that another staff member had said they'd witnessed with a child. So naturally, it creeped them out that two completely separate children from the last child saw apparently the same thing. But these staff members didn't see anything. Later on that day, further on in the day, there was a bit of a party in the gymnasium. So there was a party going on in there, and one of the staff members was pushing a little boy on the big swing that they had in the gymnasium when the boy started looking up at the ceiling. He then turned to the staff member that was pushing him on the big swing and said, "Hey, there's a boy up there." At this point, all the staff members were pretty freaked out. They're obviously, these are people that I don't, obviously, because it's in with the stories that made these stories, that these experiences made people believe. So they obviously didn't believe before. They were getting a bit freaked out, maybe not quite believing at this point, but they were creeped out that all these separate children that didn't know each other were looking up at the ceiling, seeing this little boy. So they went to their manager, and the manager checked the live footage on the CCTV footage. The manager then called the staff in after looking at the live footage, and they went in, and none of them, including the manager, could believe what they were seeing. Footage showed that the giant swing in the gymnasium was swinging all by itself. The live footage that he was looking at, or she, the manager, was looking at, was during a time when nobody was in there. So whether they were looking at footage from the nighttime when obviously nobody would be there at all, or in the day when nothing was going on but the staff were there just not in the gymnasium, I don't know. But apparently the manager claims that nobody was there, and the staff claim nobody was in that gymnasium at the time. So yeah, that made them believe, that experience made them believe. I mean, imagine them children. I mean, as an adult, it would creep you out seeing a child on the ceiling. They don't feel that this little boy is threatening. They feel that he's there just to have fun, and probably shows himself to the other children because he wants to play. So there we have it, guys. There are some stories that people have had experiences, and it's made them kind of believe in the paranormal, or at least that something is there. Now, if you have any stories that you would like me to tell on the channel, feel free to email me or message me on a social media. Everything is linked in the description of all my videos. You can be anonymous if you want, or if you want me to say your name, I will quite happily say your name. But if you would like your story told on the channel, then yes, get in touch with me and send me your stories. Also, I'm hoping very soon to go on our first paranormal investigation. I'm really, really excited about it. Not sure where we're going or anything. I might actually start a little bit within this house and do a bit of an investigation, because I've never actually done an investigation in this house as of yet. I have an EMF detector, and I have an app on my phone where ghosts can talk to me. I don't trust them 100%, but I thought I'd give it a go, see if there's anything at all. Might as well have a go. But yeah, I do want to do a paranormal investigation in my house. But I'll tell you now, it's not my house that's haunted, it's me, which I know sounds weird, but all will be explained in the future. But if you enjoyed this video, guys, please give it a massive thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because it helps me more than you know. And I will speak to you all in my next video. But until then, sleep tight.